迦牟尼佛，南无本师释迦牟尼佛，南无本师释迦牟尼佛。The sutra opening kata. The Dharma, infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in a million kalpas. Now we are able to hear, to study, and to practice. May we fully understand and realize the Tathagata's true meanings, true teachings. Okay, so we will read the Heart Sutra once before I start to expound the sutra. Okay, the Prajnaparamita Tritaya Sutra. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, when practicing deeply the Prajnaparamita, perceives that all five khandhas are empty and is saved from all suffering and distress. O Sariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness, form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. O Shariputra, all dhammas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear nor disappear, are not tainted nor pure, do not increase or decrease. There is emptiness, no form, no feelings, no perceptions, no impulses, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and no forth until no realm of mind consciousness, no ignorance and also no extinction of it, and so forth until no old age and death and also no extinction of them, no suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, also no attainment. With nothing to attain, the Bodhisattva depends on Prajnaparamita, and the mind is no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Far apart from every perverted view, the Bodhisattva dwells in Nirvana. In the three worlds, all Buddhas depend on Prajnaparamita and attain unsurpassed, complete, perfect enlightenment. Therefore, know the Prajnaparamita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering and is true, not false. So proclaim the Prajnaparamita mantra. Proclaim the mantra that says, Gade Gade, Paragade, Parasam Gade, Bodhe Swaha. We are actually studying a sutra, a Buddhist literature called the Heart Sutra, which is only 260 words in the Chinese, a very, very short sutra. But it's actually, there is the whole Buddhist teachings in this. It's a very condensed and concentrated teaching in this very simple, you could say simple teaching, but it's actually not simple at all. It's actually very, very deep. So I think we are on the fifth talk tonight, right? I think so. Yeah, fifth. So we have hardly started. So you haven't missed too much. Okay. How are you? No firefighting anymore. Not yet. Coming up. Okay. So you can take a break. Good. So remember we talked about the heart last time. We have finished the title. We have finished studying the title, the Prajnaparamita Tridaya Sutra. These 5 words, right? We have finished studying that. So what did we do last 2 weeks ago? The word, the title, which word we actually studied among these 5 words? Huh? Very good. How many different kinds? Okay. Repeat, please. Okay. I'm sure that you can remember the first one, the physical heart. Okay. And the second one? You look at your notes then. Can you find them?
Perception heart.
Okay.
Discriminating.
Good.
Accumulative arising heart.
Good.
Solid and wise.
Yes. Good. That's very good. At least you've got it down. Yeah. So there are actually 5. We can actually categorize the heart mind, or we call the mind, into the 5 different parts. And what we are trying to cultivate is, or trying to allow it to be activate, is the which one? The solid and wise heart mind. That means the where does that solid and a wise heart comes from? Come from outside? Through studying? Is it through studying? Is it really through studying? Practice and experience. And also practice and experience allow you to guess.
Purifying.
Yeah, purifying. Purifying what? Yeah, the defilements, all the dust, right? Allow the dust to fall off from the mirror. And so you allow this wisdom to be activated from inside. We all have that. So this solid and wise traits of the mind are in here, not outside. Okay? But the experience of perceiving, experience of understanding, and the experience of being able to, wipe down the dust, allow us to actually let go of our views, of our attachment, of our ego and everything. So eventually we allow this wisdom to open up. There is space for this wisdom to come in. Otherwise, if it's all tangled up, all plucked up, the wisdom is being what? Pushed, hidden inside, right? Okay. So now, I forgot to bring back the summary of the whole thing. But anyway, okay, we go to the second category, or second things that were second passage. That means the first passage, the Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, when practicing deeply the Prajnaparamita, perceives that all 5 khandhas are empty and is saved from all suffering and distress. So this whole paragraph is actually the substance, the whole essence of the whole Heart Sutra. And we call this is the substance of this teaching. So that means of all these 9 paragraphs, the most important paragraph is this one. This is just like the tree trunk, or the roots of the tree. The roots and the trunk. Without the roots, the trunk won't come up, except a banyan tree, right? A banyan tree grows very funny. But the banyan tree will eventually have roots on its own. So this paragraph is actually the tree, the roots and the tree trunk, the trunk of a tree. Everything that comes after this, from second paragraph onwards, those are branches and leaves. But branches and leaves are important too, for us to understand, for us to know what kind of tree, right? We don't have any leaves. We just see a tree trunk. It's sometimes difficult to tell you what kind of tree that is, right? So with branches and leaves, you will be able to identify what kind of tree. And so together with all these, that actually give us an idea, an idea of a complete path that leads to liberation. Okay, that allow us to actually, if we walk on this, we bound to achieve the goal of liberation. It's just a matter of time. That's all. Okay, so the whole core thinking of the Heart Sutra is actually lies in this paragraph, and actually lies in the whole 4 sentences. When practicing deeply the Prajnaparamita, perceives that all 5 khandhas are empty. We will explain this later on, and is saved from all suffering and distress. Okay, so these two, there are two main theme of this path of practice, and also how to train this heart mind. And the 2 main theme is practicing the Prajnaparamita, and the second is perceives that all 5 khandhas are empty. Okay, so these are the 2 main themes, and the result of practicing on these 2 main themes is you're saved from all sufferings and distress. You're liberated from all the sufferings and distress. So that is the result and the consequence of really practicing and walking on this particular path. And this particular path, the whole goal of this particular path is to develop this Prajnaparamita. Paramita, that means quality. Okay, Prajna, that means wisdom. Well, yeah, I mean, English word, right? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to look down upon the English word, but as you know, there's the really a very limited scope. When you look, when you hear the word wisdom, you think, oh, this is wisdom. No, actually, prajna is much bigger than the word wisdom itself. So I'm sticking to the Sanskrit word, the traditional ancient Indian language. Okay, this is called Sanskrit. Okay, Sanskrit word. So you get used to it when you keep on, hearing it. So that's why you know what is dukkha, right? And what is sukha and all that. Okay. So among the Chinese scholars, they always say this paragraph actually are the eyes of the sutra. So without the eyes, you will not be able to see, right? So that if I can understand this thoroughly and see if you can, through your own meditation practice, see if you can actually experience and understand this whole paragraph in your meditation practice. We'll get to that later on. It sounds very abstract, but you can. Okay, all right? So let us look at Avalokitesvara. So Avalokitesvara in Chinese is called Guanzizai. Okay, and Bodhisattva is Buddha. A lot of people think that Avalokitesvara only represents the Guanyin Pusa. You know, the Guanyin Pusa we have inside the little hall. That means compassionate Bodhisattva. But there are two ways of thinking, or 2 ways of interpretation of Avalokitesvara. One way of interpretation, they identified that as Guanyin Pusa, as the compassionate Bodhisattva. But the other interpretation is they identify this as somebody who is actually well developed in Prajnaparamita, and so they become very peaceful and gracious and serene and wise. Okay, so there are two ways to actually look at this Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, the whole meaning of it. So Ava means down, okay, And look, that means to look. Ita is a suffix, and so it changes the word to look. That means to look down. It changes the word from a verb to a noun. That means one who is looking down. Okay, so one who is looking down. So who is looking down? A Bodhisattva is looking down. Okay, so now this is Svara. That means we really don't want to call it a lord, because it will be very misleading. People will think it's like a god, but really no. A lord, that means a saint and sage. That's all. And you can call them a master. Okay, so the whole word Avalokitesvara, that means a saintly one who is looking down. Interesting when you break down the word. Okay, so now then we look at Bodhi. Bodhi, that means somebody who's being awakened, who has awakened, or who has enlightened. That means somebody who is completely liberated, right? Awakened, that means awakened from the dreams of our own life, the dreams of our own existence, and realized and enlightened. That means enlightened by this realization and being liberated from all the shackles of identifying this existence to a self. Yeah? Okay. So Bodhi, that means you're completely awakened, you're totally enlightened, you're completely liberated. All right. Sava, that means a living being. Okay. So when you look at Avalokitesvara, that means there is this master who is awakened, who is enlightened, and who actually looks down, not looks down upon, but it actually is looking down. So this Bodhisattva is actually looking down, and this Bodhisattva is actually a master. Okay, so when you in your mind, when you think that people or are saying in the sage is looking down, that means they are higher up, right? They must be higher up. Otherwise, how can they be looking down? So that means somebody is higher. Of course, somebody is higher. It's not something related to space. It's actually something related to the stage of enlightenment. Okay, or the level of wisdom. Okay, so a lot of scholars said, like Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva is called Hell's Realm Bodhisattva. Hell's Realm. Okay. And you always see Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva appears as a man, have a masculine appearance. But Avalokitesvara, if it's defined as Guan Yin Pusat, is the only Bodhisattva who has the feminine appearance and also who has a masculine appearance. So I don't know whether any of you have peeked into my office. Can you go into my office, get that Guan Yin Pusat on the top of the cabinet? This Guan Yin Pusat in here has a very feminine appearance. Same with the one in the dining area. But the one I have in my office has a very, if you don't look at his clothes, or you don't look at his headpiece, you just look at the face, you can see that masculine appearance there. So Guan Zizai Pusat, this Guan Zizai Pusat, this Avalokitesvara, is the only Bodhisattva who has a feminine. I don't know whether you see it as a masculine appearance. You do, right? You see, right? Without this headpiece. Okay, so it's really. Can people see from the camera? Now, forward like this towards the camera. It's too heavy. Can you see now? Okay, so this you see is really masculine look, right? Can you see? And it's also Caucasian look too. This is a statue that people actually throw out. Yeah, they didn't want it. I took it 26 years ago. So this is an antique now. We just put it on the altar piece. It's very heavy. Okay. So and it is of course this is a very common figure in the Mahayana cosmology. All right. So he or she really is completed in this development of peace and calmness and stability and wisdom. So, and Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva actually embodies both compassion and wisdom in in oneself. And he now I use a word he, all right? It doesn't really matter. He had made a great vow, just like a lot of Bodhisattva, including the Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, is he will not enter the final Nibbana or Nirvana until all beings have been liberated. So is it possible that I don't think it's possible, right? And so Guanyin菩薩 or Avalokitesvara will never enter into Nibbana, will never. In the Chinese culture, we actually are very familiar with Guanyin菩薩 ever since we were little. Even though we don't learn anything about the Buddhist teachings, it's very common in the Chinese culture. We always say every home knows Amitabha, the Amitabha Buddha, and every house has a Guanyin菩薩. So my mom had a Guanyin菩薩 picture, a picture, right? And a statue, a blue and white, blue and white. So I always call that is a toy, because she always offered like food and burnt papers, paper money and paper thing and paper that every month. So I always consider it as a toy. Yeah, it's just a figurine to me when I was little. And I always blame my mom burning paper thing inside the little flat that we have, make me, because I have allergy, very, very bad allergy. So the whole house, the whole flat will be smoky, right? And I'll keep on sneezing and crying and sneezing. And I say, Mom, you're wasting money. You're wasting money. You're offering to that figurine. What's that? Now I know who is Guanyin菩薩. You see, be careful of what you say. I mean, I will share more stories of Guanyin菩薩with you later on. But it's really so strange. But anyway, it's actually a very, very common figurine to be kept in a Chinese home. Very common, even though people don't identify themselves as a Buddhist. And it's a very common traditional thing. And Guanyin菩薩, the Chinese words of Guanyin, Guan, that means contemplation, reflecting. Yin, that means hearing the sounds. Yin, that means sounds. Guanyin is Avalokitesvara. Okay, so Guan Yin, that means she actually is, or he is actually looking or hearing the sounds of suffering beings calling for help. Okay, why do we call for help? Because we are drowned in the ocean of samsara, the ocean of cyclic, sorry, not cyclic, cyclic, cyclics or cycles of continuous birth and death. It's called samsara. Okay, so her or his compassion is considered to be very skillful and to be not personalized. Okay, so he won't say, okay, so and so call for help, I will go. And so call for help, I won't go because I don't like him or I don't like her. So it's not personalized and it's skillful. So the contemplation you think is just being achieved by ears? No, it's actually achieved by eyes, achieved by nose, achieved by touch. So now your meditation practice, it mainly practice on feeling the breath. You're mainly doing this, but you can actually meditate on sounds, on smell, and on taste, and on touch. Okay, touch is feeling the sense of the physical sensation, but on sound, sometimes during meditation retreats, if I find a student who is very disturbed and they really cannot feel even the breath, I would ask them to actually lie down and listen. They'll just try to listen into the space. Okay, so that is actually a very, very calming effect. Not listen to music, but just listen, just try to hear. And if you could try tonight, when you lie down on the bed before you fall asleep, if you don't fall asleep within a couple of seconds, and just try to do a little bit of contemplation through the ears. We have done that before, haven't we? At Kent. Remember? He became so calm. So you just try to put your attention on these ears, on the audio messages that are being received by the ears, and no judgment, no interpretation, no analysis, just listen, and you'll find that calming effect comes very fast. Okay, all right. So this is a technique that actually Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva attained her enlightenment. It's wonderful, isn't it? Go. All right. So I want to show you some of the pictures of Bodhisattva, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. Look at this. This really has a masculine face. Yeah, even though the ornamentals decoration on the body looks so feminine. And this is a Bodhisattva in Hong Kong. It's huge. You can see it from the highway. But you see, this actually definitely has a feminine appearance, right? So, and some of the Bodhisattvas, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, actually are depicted in other ways. This is the one of the Bodhisattva in a very famous temple in Japan. It's called Sanzishan Jiantang, the 33 rooms temple. And this is the main Bodhisattva in that temple. They have 1,001 statues there, and these were carved by 3 generations of artists. and in a hall which was over maybe 500 feet long. And this is the main one. And I think he is about 25 feet tall. I think, yeah. When I stood up, I had to look at him like this, 25 feet. But this is a very different one. Can you see the arms? All these are arms. All these are hands. Yeah? Can you see that? And they are holding something they're holding an instrument. Some holding a bell, some holding a hand, or some holding a a, a, a book. So it's called 1,000 hands, 1,000 eyes Bodhisattva, Guanyin Pusa. Why would they use 1,000? It's just a number. It doesn't mean anything, but it carries the meaning, saying that means he or she has this power to reach out to so many people who are crying out for help. And they are so able to help different kind of suffering people, also sufferings. So you can see the wisdom and the compassion that the Bodhisattva embody could help so many different kind of people with different kind of problems. So it's not like us in the medical profession, so specialized. If you are if you are in internist, you just specialize in internal medicine, or if you are a gynecologist, you specialize in just gynecology. But he or she is so specialized in everything. Okay, so and if we would like to walk on this bodhisattva path, we need to start to learn how to actually sever our defilements and how to actually share and serve others with compassion and wisdom. And the bodhisattva, when we pay respect to the bodhisattva, our prostrations, our mind of prostration, our intention of prostration is, I want to look up to this bodhisattva and learn to become like him or her. Not prostrating because I adore you and like I adore you like you are my idol. No, nothing like that. It's actually looking up to see the qualities in this saint and sage, and I want to cultivate the similar qualities. Okay, and the wisdom or the wisdom and the compassion that we develop by meditation is strong. It's very strong, but we need to implement that kind of strength into a very complex and complicated human life, especially complex and complicated human relationship, and to understand that and to use that and to develop further wisdom from that and further understanding and further inspiration and further really realization and how we actually see a human relationship, a complex human relationship, from the wisdom, from the understanding, from the experience that we develop from meditation. Okay. So among the 6 paramita in the Chinese tradition, so who can volunteer to tell me which 6 paramita? First.
Generosity.
Okay, generosity, very good. Second.
Patience.
Okay, morality. Okay, patience or tolerance. Yeah, tolerance is better because tolerance actually includes patience, but patience not necessarily include tolerance. Right? Okay. Effort. Very good.
Kindness.
Huh?
Kindness.
That is in the 10 paramita in the Theravadan tradition. Concentration, that's good. Samadhi. Livelihood? Livelihood, that is in the Eight Noble Path. Wisdom, very good. Wisdom, that means the prajna. Okay, so among these 6 paramita, the most important paramita within these 6 that actually support the other paramita is virya, the effort, and the prajna, the wisdom. These 2 paramita, these 2 great qualities, the effort quality and the wisdom quality, actually supports the other one. And of course, with the complete development of the last 5, the first 5 supports the prajna. It's like a reservoir. Okay, it allows you to hold the water, but with the water there, actually supports the reservoir too. You see? Okay, so now let us go to look at this virya paramita, or virya in the Sanskrit word. This is a Sanskrit, remember, okay? With the Pali term is virya, V-I-R-I-Y-A. Okay. So virya, that means effort, the right kind of effort, the right kind of exertions. So there are 4 right kind of exertions, okay? This is a very easy table to remember. So there is the unarisen one, that means it hasn't appeared yet. And then the arisen one is already appeared. And there's the unskillful qualities, and there are skillful qualities. Okay, the first one is if there is unarisen, unskillful qualities that you notice that you do not possess yet, guard them. Don't allow it to arise. For example, if you notice that you don't have any anger, if you do not have any anger seeds in you, don't allow the anger seeds to actually being planted into your mind. Okay, if it has arisen, what do? We abandon it. We try to eradicate it. We try to change it. We try to correct it. Okay, so if we notice that we have a lot of craving coming, qualities, constantly, bombarding us in our life, then we try. Each time we try to abandon a little bit more, we try to abandon a little bit more, we try to abandon a little bit more, or abstain a little bit more. Then gradually, these seeds will be exhausted. You will completely clear out all these seeds. Okay? So easy to remember. If we have any skillful qualities, they haven't arisen yet, what do? Oh, sorry. Yeah, cultivate. Sorry. So this actually is the practice of karuna. That means you understand the sufferings that you experience and the sufferings of others, and you develop this kind of empathetic, sympathetic mind, and you want to help yourself and you want to help others to be relieved, to be liberated, to be lifted from these kind of sufferings. Remember the metta practice, right? What's the true metta is you help to liberate or to alleviate sufferings. That is alleviation of sufferings. Okay. All right. So if you notice that there are skillful qualities that it hasn't arisen yet, you haven't possessed it yet, we try to arouse it. We try to cultivate. Yeah. So if I notice that I'm very stingy, So if I have $1, then I normally say, oh no, I want to keep this dollar. So stingy that I want to keep this dollar. But you notice that this is a wonderful quality to develop. And you say, okay, this time I'll give out 10 cents. Next time 20. Eventually I'll give up the whole dollar and I won't feel, that I don't possess anything. I have lost the whole dollar. I will, at that time, if I'm able to give out that $1, I am sure that happiness is so tremendous. It's so big, much bigger than $1. Right? Okay, so allow that to arise and arouse it. And if we notice that I already have that skillful quality in me, what do we do?
Maintain it and try and multiply.
Yeah, very good. How can you maintain and multiply, right?
I really didn't see
I did not see anything. I did not see anything. You see, that's us. Not just her. That's us. You immediately would react. We react so fast. I did not cheat. I did not see it. I didn't even hint that you were sneaking. But you see our reaction? Can you see it? Yeah, so fast, just like that. Thank you for prompting. Thank you for prompting me. Okay, so we maintain and multiply it. And that is the cultivation of what? Compassion, loving kindness, isn't it? Right? There's a compassion, there's a cultivation of compassion. And so, together with all these, even with the four right kind of exertions or four right kind of efforts, we are actually cultivating compassion and loving kindness and empathy. You see? You see, they're so wise. The teachings of the Buddha is so wise. You develop in this, actually, you develop in the bigger, you are developing in the bigger picture. Okay? So in this context of Bodhisattva, there are two kinds of Bodhisattva. Okay, one kind is the earthly Bodhisattva. You can say, oh, he's the Bodhisattva. Oh, he lives a life of compassion and service to others as an expression of their commitment to working towards liberation, or working towards liberation of sufferings in mankind. So maybe you can find an example of an earthly Bodhisattva that you have met in this lifetime, or you have heard about in this lifetime. Mother Teresa, okay. Who else? Yeah, Gandhi. Yeah, and Dr. Martin, yeah, Luther King, right? He relieved the slavery in the States. So these are vivid examples of an earthly Bodhisattva.
Are the nuns not here as Bodhisattvas?
Sometimes. Maybe a split second. Thank you, Carrie. That is very encouraging. You see, you have a lot of work to do. Earthly Bodhisattva. That's what Carrie said. All right. Okay. But there is another kind. It's called Transcendental Bodhisattva. And Transcendental Bodhisattva, people sometimes call them Mahayana Bodhisattva. Po Lam Buddhist. You remember Po Lam Buddhist? Right? Pusa is Bodhisattva. Mohosa is Mahasattva. Bodhisattva, Mahasattva. That means a big, big Bodhisattva. Transcendental. Yeah? Cock, you understand that too? Okay. So Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, that means Posamosa, the big, huge, Maha, big, huge, great, right? Transcendental, transcend. Okay. So these are really Bodhisattva or saints and sages who actualize all the paramitas and have attained Buddhahood, but they vow to postpone their entry into Nibbana. Okay, and they possess full wisdom, full compassion. So they are no longer subjected to the workings of samsara. They won't recycle themselves in the cycles of samsara anymore. Okay, so I want to give you an example of a Bodhisattva Mahasattva. Okay. With Asanga Bodhisattva. Asanga Bodhisattva was actually a monk in the fourth or fifth century in China. Okay, so he wanted, and he was a Monka Sangha. Let's call him Monka Sangha. I don't want to confuse you. Monka Sangha actually wanted to see Maitreya Bodhisattva. Maitreya Bodhisattva, that means this happy Buddha. Okay. So he went to Gaijoksan, a mountain in China. And he said, I want to practice here so that I will encounter Maitreya Bodhisattva here. Because that's the mountain says that Maitreya actually went into the mountain and stayed there until he became a Buddha later on, and he will come out from the mountain. So Monka Sangha actually went there, and he spent the 6 years practicing diligently in that mountain, and he did not see Maitreya. So he left the mountain. He was walking down the mountain. Then he saw somebody got a big iron bar and wanted to polish, and he was polishing it. And he asked, Monk Asanga asked this man, what are you doing? What? And he said, I wanted to make this into something. He said, so what are you going to make it into? He said, I want to polish it to become a needle, a big iron bar. And he asked the man, are you sure? And the man said, yes, I will be able to do it. It's just a matter of time. So Monka Sangha said, well, this man is so adamant to polish this iron bar into a needle. And what am I to say, right? 6 years spent in the mountain and not seeing Maitreya, and I decided to leave. So he went back up. 3 years later, he still hasn't seen Maitreya. So he came back. He wanted to leave the mountain. He left the mountain, he came down, and he saw a person wiping down the mountain with a piece of cloth. And he asked this man, he said, what are you doing? He said, I wanted to remove this mountain so that I could get light into my house, because this mountain is blocking the light into my house. And he said, you must be kidding. And he said, no, I think one day eventually I'll be able to move this mountain. And he thought, wow, this man has this confidence to move that mountain so that the light can shine into the house. And I have only spent 3 more years in the mountain, and I haven't seen Maitreya. I think I needed to work harder. He went back up. Went back up into the mountain. 3 years later, he can't do it. He can't stay there anymore. He said, "No, I'm fed up. I'm done." How many years he spent up there? 12 years, right? He said, "I'm done. I'm going." He's not bad, right? 12 years. I think for us we'll be gone by by the end of 3 years, completely gone. No matter whom we meet, right? 3 years he came down again. And he saw a sick dog there, a sick dog on the side of the mountain with broken legs. And he looked at him. He's got wounds all over his body. It's all worms, maggots? Is that maggots? Yeah. And he looked at him. He said, "Wow, suffering being." And the dog looked very hungry, looked very sick. He said, I can help you. I can only give you a piece of my flesh so that you won't be suffering from hunger anymore." So he cut a piece of flesh to feed the dog. And then he wanted to leave, but he saw the dog, all these maggots there, covered with dirt and everything. He said, "Wow, you're really suffering. Let me help you." He squat down and he wanted to pick out the maggots from the wound. But he knew if he used his fingers to pick the maggots would die, right? And he thought, how can I remove those maggots? So he actually trying to use his mouth to pick the maggots from the dog's wound. And as soon as he put his mouth onto the dog's body, he saw the whole Bodhisattva. Buddha Maitreya was sitting there. And he said, "Why did you appear so late? Total of 12 years. Now you appeared." Maitreya said, "I have always been with you, ever since the first day you came into this mountain. But you were blindfolded. You did not have enough compassion. You did not have enough wisdom to see me. And now, seeing a sick dog and having that compassion to alleviate the suffering of the dog, you are able to see me." So, and after that, actually, Buddha Maitreya actually took him up to the two-seater heaven, the first heaven that is closest to the human world. And he spent there. He was there, listening to the teachings of the happy Buddha Maitreya, and he came back. It's as if he had spent one day up there. He came back 53 years later, and he actually wrote the book, wrote the Yogacara Sutra. You can see they learn Moja Posa, okay, by Asanga Bodhisattva. That's why he is called Asanga Bodhisattva. Eventually, afterwards. So, and he actually developed a new completely new sect of practice. It's called Yogacara Bhumi practice, and it's practiced on this whole Yogacara literature. It's a very deep literature. So you see, that is the Transcendental Bodhisattva. I will share with you one of my experience of a Transcendental Bodhisattva, but it's only in my dreams. I was very sick in 2011 with my acute glaucoma. after my left eye operation, it's got, in fact, it's got actually infected. Um, I didn't want to say, I didn't want to tell you the reason why, because it was in the past anyway. It was a mistake, a medical mistake. But anyway, the next day I went to the clinic, to the eye clinic, and my doctor thought, wow, it was so good yesterday right after the operation. The next day my eye was completely inflamed, bloodshot red, and I had severe pain right from the half of my skull. Is complete migraine, total migraine, and 10 out of 10, a pain of 10 out of 10. And he tried all sorts of eye drops and nothing worked. So he sent me to the hospital. But I was so confident that it was nothing. So, and Tan Sifu was so confident that I could overcome. So she dropped me off at the clinic. She came home. And I was there alone in the clinic myself. And the doctor said, you need to go to emergency. So I thought I could walk to the emergency room from Mary Street Clinic. And as soon as I left the clinic, I started to throw up. So I walk a few steps, I threw up. I walk a few steps, I threw up, and I couldn't see. I was totally blind on this side. So I missed the hospital. Actually, I missed the hospital. So I said, oh, where's the hospital? Because I could not see on the left side. The hospital was on my left side, right? And I missed the hospital. So I said, oh, where's the hospital? I turned my head. The hospital was there. So I had to walk back. I had to cross the road. I was very careful. Went into the ER. I waited to get the injection, and it seems that I did not get the right kind of help. And the injection was supposed to finish. I mean, the drip was supposed to finish within half an hour. It took 1.5 hours. So I think the concentration of the medicine just didn't kick in. So I came home with one eye blind and keep vomiting and total migraine and everything. And the next day went back to the clinic, and I stayed in the clinic for 5 and 6 hours, and went into the ER again. 3 or 4 days. And no sleep, no food, nothing. Because every time I try to eat, throw up. Every time I try to move, throw up and faint. So next time again went into the ER. Before I went into the ER, I called Hong Kong, and I said I needed some Chinese medicine. So got Chinese medicine delivered, and I was in the ER. And the ER people, they say, no, you're not supposed to come to the ER today. You're supposed to go to the day clinic. I said, oh, okay, whatever, whatever. So I walked to the day clinic within the hospital, and the nurse said, what do you need? I said, I don't know. This is the prescription from my doctor. And she said, oh, I know this doctor. I've worked for him for 5 years. I know what you need. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be back with your medicine. So she came back with the medicine, gave me this injection. Within half an hour, she said, you can go home. Half an hour instead of 1.5 to 2 hours the other day. So I came home. Tan Sifu brought me back home. And I felt a little bit better after that injection. A little bit better. I think the migraine was like 8.5. And I said to Tan Sifu, I'm so exhausted. I really need to sleep. 5 days no sleep. I really needed to sleep. As soon as I finished saying that, I drifted into this hazy dream. But I was very aware. I was very aware because it happened on this side, so I slept on this side. I saw Guan Yin Pusa. I saw Avalokitesvara. Three. I need a 3 to come and help me. 3 big, huge, possibly over 100 feet tall, all white, completely white. And and his headpiece, it was just like this, but with something dropping from the front. Beautiful headpiece, masculine face, no ornamentals, nothing. It's very simple, nothing like this. Very simple rope. 3 of them in a cave. But I know there are 3, but I can only see one face, very, very clear. The other were sort of like not a blur. I said, wow. I said, wow, Guan Yin菩萨. I needed to go and pay respect. But I couldn't find any path. I saw a very narrow, muddy path, like this wide, this kind of dirt, this kind of color. I said, oh, it's very winding path going inside the cave. I said, I can crawl in. So I started crawling. In my dream, I started crawling. I said, no, you are sleeping. And in my dream, I told myself, you are sleeping, but you are crawling. You better wake up and find yourself. See if you're crawling in your bed. I was telling myself, I can still remember the whole thing in this head. I said, wake up, look at yourself, see if you're crawling in your bed. I woke up and I saw my hand was like this. I was like this with my hand. And, I was really crawling. So I flipped myself, lay on my back, close my right eye. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can see. So I ring the lifeline, ding dong, and call Tan Sifu to come in. Tan Sifu said, what happened? What happened? Are you okay? I said, yeah. I said, try. She said, try what? I said, try. She said, I said, 2, 4, 5. She said, oh, you can see. Right away, I can see. So I was helped. I was helped by the Bodhisattva. I was helped by Guan Yin Pusa. So wonderful story, eh? And it was so touching. So I completely repent on my comment of my mom's figurine, Guan Yin Pusa figurine. Okay, so I'm sorry, we have hardly finished Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. It's over an hour, but anyway, okay. So this is the Asanga Bodhisattva story and my little story. Okay, so should we continue next week? I have something to show you. I see if I can move this thing. Oh, how come it's upside down? Oh, here. Oh, okay. Can I click on this? Oh, look. Oh, I learned one new thing today. Is the 28th day of the last month of the lunar calendar, the Chinese calendar, the 28th day. And in the Chinese tradition, we need to tidy up our house, organize our rooms, and clean ourselves so that we prepare ourselves for a fresh start in the new year, which is on Friday. The first day of Chinese New Year is Friday. Okay? So Garfield said, clean up. And so this is Chinese New Year. So everybody is welcome to join us on Friday for a grand offering at 10 o'clock. And on Sunday, offering the DV locus on also at 10 o'clock, right? Okay? So you have no question, right? Don't ask any question. Okay. So we dedicate our merits then. So we bring our attention to our body, to our breath. we experience this constant flux of changes in this physical body, this mental existence. At this time, we allow a good thought to arise on our mind. For all the benefits that I gathered tonight, may I share with all beings, human, non-human, visible, invisible, big or small, far or near. May they be free of enmity. May they be free of mysteries. May they start to live in a world with brightness, warmth, and experience compassionate love, and be happy and be peaceful. May more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha, study them, practice them, and liberate themselves from their own entanglements, all the shackles, and attain this ultimate freedom and peace and happiness.